to wrapping up the finish of the beautiful mural that our artists have been working on, since the second week pretty much of February. They've been here, and sometimes even through Mass, they have been working on the restoration of our original artwork. As you probably remember, our church was built around 1924, and part of the original church was the painting that you see now, that you weren't able to see 3 months ago. That was part of the original church. And about 50 years ago or so, one of the pastors painted over that artwork. We really don't know why. We can guess there might have been some damage. They might not have had the money or known who would be able to do some touch-up work. It might have been damaged in some way. There might have been, they wanted to focus more on the altar. They wanted to focus on the new liturgy after Vatican II. There might have been several reasons, but we really don't know. And then after it was all painted over, people said, oh, we missed it. This is horrible. So then they just put just angels, and then they moved the cross up to where the organ is, because the organ wasn't there at that time. And so this church has been through a lot in 50 years. And what we have been doing for the last 6 years with a bunch of committees, asking people what they want and what we need in our church, and to do something to our church itself was the first priority. So we actually hired a company named EverGreene. They have an office in New York and in Chicago. And then we have been talking to them for several years. Remember, there was just that little strip. Remember the little piece that was behind the banner? That we knew it was there. And this company, one of the few companies in the country, like one of two, that actually do this kind of level of restoration work. So we thought that before Jill and the group, finish their project next week, that we would like to have an opportunity for you to hear from her and from them, and maybe ask a couple questions on the process. So I'd like to introduce Jill Eide, who from Minnesota, who has really been the foreman and the head of the project here. Thanks, Jill.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to finally see everybody face to face instead of looking over my back. My name is Jill. This is Terry, and this is Stephen. Terry is from Rhode Island, and Stephen is from Maine. We work for EverGreene, and what our position is we are a road crew. We travel all over the country to different sites and work on different restoration and renovation jobs like this.
Did you say you did some work in the Capitol building in Washington, D.C.?
I myself did not. Our company has. The job I was at just before this was the Colorado State Capitol, and we were putting all the gold leaf on the outer dome. So we were all harnessed up and on scaffold way up high.
Outside?
Outside. But we had a scrim, what they call it, protecting us. So it was, maybe 15 degrees out, but it was a nice 70 degrees inside. So we were very fortunate. And that's the gold leaf, actually the same kind of technique that I put on here. So you can see the halos. It's 22 karat gold leaf that's on the mural now. So you've got some bling. We've been here about 3 months. We're going to finish up next week. Hopefully return and get the rest of the church in order and pick some colors and try to bring the whole church together in some colorful, new, freshening up. So we're very fortunate that this mural was in such good condition. We took off 5 layers of paint, stripped it down. I don't know if you remember, there was 2 other girls here with me working in the beginning. We scrubbed and ground and got that old paint off.
So when you first came, Jill, you would put some gook up on a section, right? Some kind of stuff on the section. Then you'd put plastic over it, and then you would wait a day or so. Could you explain about what you put on there?
What we put on is a water-based stripper, so it wasn't toxic, but it seemed to cut through the best through the 5 layers. So one before we would leave on the day, we would put a bunch of it on, a good thick coat, put some plastic over it so it would help cook it and get rid of it. The come and scrape that off, put another application on, leave that sit, and scrape that off, and then have to do a little bit after. So it was really 3 times we had to go over this whole thing to get that paint off. From all those years, they put layer after layer. But look what's underneath. We're so fortunate.
Now, Jill, you told me that normally when they do this, and they do this a lot, normally there are entire faces that are just gone, you know, or parts of the figures that are just gone. But you said that this project was very unique in what you found underneath those layers of paint.
Correct. The type of paint he used was very strong. It held up well through time. It was very resilient, so all that scraping and stripping and scrubbing we did not affect his work at all. We can see it very clearly, interpret exactly what he intended, and match the colors to exactly what he put on in the beginning.
So if you remember, it was fainter, but all of the paint was there.
Yep.
Which is very unusual, you said.
Exactly. Usually we uncover something and it's half an arm's missing, or a whole element of a body. We have to draw out and figure how it looked from the beginning. There was no guessing game in this. It was straight for us.
Can you tell us anything about the artist that really primarily did this church?
Well, you know, we're finding out more about him. We've all been kind of researching, and we haven't found too much about Felix Luftucker. Stefan, my coworker, started doing a little blog and some research trying to bring together anybody who knows any information or what exactly his spectrum varied over the years. His work is very consistent. There's a church in Toledo that has his mural work. And
the cathedral, if you've been to Rosary Cathedral downtown, it's the same artist.
And he used about the same palette, the same technique, same colors. A lot of the same patterns are in all his churches. I think he's a very talented artist, that's for sure. You can see how beautiful, well done the saints are in their hands, and it's very impressive, very impressive. I think we figured he worked on it. He was maybe late 60s, 70s. He was an older man in his career when he came through this area. So we're still researching, still trying to find out more about him. It's a mystery.
Does anybody have any questions?
Oh. Go ahead. No, he's not. No, he's not. He would be way old. Like I said, when he did it, he was in his 60s, so he'd be way too old.
So he might have been 70 years old in 1924.
Go ahead. Oh, you think it looks like cement? That's very good. That is called a special technique, and it's sponging. So you take a sponge and you take the color and you lightly go around and model it and make it look so it's got some texture on it. Go ahead. How long what? Painting. I've been in this trade for 16 years. Right. I'm old. I went to college and studied this, and then right after college, I got right into the trade and just started putting my boots on and working hard. So, thank you. Go ahead. These are called windows.
Can you hear her in the back? I think, Jill, you need to hold the mic up, yeah.
These are called windows, and what we do in the job, and that's what we did, if you remember back here with the mural, is we're checking to see under all those layers of paint what the original was, and this is what the original is. So when the church comes to that point and we want to pick a new color and a new technique for the rest of the church, we can look at this and see if that's where we want to go and how we can interpret it to everything.
We're trying to figure out what the rest of the church looked like by taking more of the paint off.
Go ahead. Purple head man. does. Takes a lot of patience, a lot of concentration, very, very intricate work. You have to be the right kind of person to do it, so it takes a lot of concentration. Do I know what it is? How do I know?
Yeah, like a piece of paper would fall off, how do you know what color paint's on it?
I've done it before. You try to find that piece of chunk that fell off and look at it and see how it matches. Otherwise, you can look at the surrounding area. You know, if that piece fell off or you got rid of that piece, you can kind of tell, well, what was going on next to it. You know, what's over here. You can figure out what the colors are surrounding. We hired somebody. There was a bunch of guys who came in and they built all this for us. And then when we're done, after we finish other little things we need to take care of, they'll take it down again. They do it in like one day. We didn't have to do it. That was all there. Once we took the paint off, we could see everything was there, and we just went over and reinstated it. So we just took a little color and just painted right over it. It was like a paint by number. Go ahead. Painting it. It is. Look how happy those guys are. Look at you, you laid out on the job. It's tough work. You know, it's a lot of different angles. It's not easy always just right in front of you. We got to do a lot of ceiling work, and so it's tough. Go ahead. Yeah. What year did I start working? I started doing restoration work in 1998. Whoa. Up there, we see the stairs here. You go all the way up, it's nice and steady. And then all that up there is a nice solid platform. And what we call that in the trade is a dance floor. So when you have that very top and it's all nice and sturdy, we call that a dance floor. What's that? How much? How many? Or how many different colors? Oh, he used quite a bit. A lot of them repeat, so I'd say with the greens and the blues, there's maybe 40 different colors, give or take. Go ahead.
As you took the paint off, was it really cool discovering things, like when you took it off, was it really interesting to see what the person or what he painted? Was it really interesting to see?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you saw it was just a white wall, so for that, all of a sudden out of nowhere you see a face. And all of us girls would say to each other, "No, come look, I think this is part of an arm or a face." And it's real exciting. Real exciting. Go ahead. The thing hanging there, that's the speaker. And that's what we're going to try to, we may move it closer, we may move it out of the way so it's not right in the view of the mural. So it's just your speaker. Go ahead. That's gold. be your new air conditioning. So then once everything is covered up and ready to go, then we'll start thinking about painting in here. So this will look all different eventually sometime. After the air conditioning. That was just, it's just the cross. Remember the cross back there? And the Sacred Heart. They just put it there for Easter, just to make it a little nice. Just to cover things up. Oh, that's gonna take time. Time and patience. Go ahead.
Didn't you ever get tired?
Oh, I'm tired all the time. No. I mean, I love my job, so I like coming to work every day. By the end of the day, you get a little worn, but it's fun. Go ahead.
How did you get that
I don't even know who did it. So one of the church ladies put it up there. Go ahead. Sure.
Did you work all night, or did you get some?
Oh, we just work just a day shift like your parents do, just 8 hours.
Except Terry. Terry, do you work 24 hours a day?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll go wait in the back. Go ahead.
What was the question, please?